Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Coffee is for Closers. It's me, Matt. Pat's not here. He's fucking dead to me. But we have Adam. Adam's one of our clients at Sales Sniper and successful business owner and entrepreneur. So I thought I would get him on, and we'll have a chat.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Ex-Special Forces sniper turned entrepreneur. I've scaled numerous businesses to 8 figures. My name is Matt Ryder. This is my podcast, and I'm telling you to put that coffee down.
So how you doing?
Good, mate. Good. You?
Yeah, no, not too bad. Just got back from the States. Did the challenge, sold some people, made some money, came back.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, back to the more mundane things. How's everything go over in Cyberland?
Cyberland's going well. As you know, we've been going from strength to strength, but the landscape in cyber has been a pretty frantic one over I'd probably say the past 12 to 6 months. The awareness within Australia has just gone gangbusters, basically, which has helped us. Okay.
And explain to the people what you do. Because you're not a coaching consulting company.
No.
You're a real company.
No. Yes, we are. So we are purely a cybersecurity training and education company. Online training, we focus on not only getting our students the right skills, but also a huge focus on getting them placement as well. So my background, I've been in education. I'm a teacher, qualified teacher for about 7 or 8 years ago. Went into the registered training organisation space.
Okay.
So I've been in training and education.
Were you there during like the rogue days of VET and all that kind of stuff?
2016?
Yeah. When they were
Wild
giving away
West.
iPads at
Yes.
At Centrelink?
On the record, I was not giving away iPads, but I was in the industry then.
You didn't want to make money then.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
So that was,
Walk us through that, actually.
yeah.
Those of you who don't know, so like VET funding was a government organized funding scheme for registered training organizations, which is like government-sponsored coaching programs, essentially.
Vet fee help, yep.
Yeah, so like a lot of it was like Cert 4 and crane operations, like all that kind of stuff. And the funding was my sister was an auditor in the RTO space, so I have to know a little about it. Yeah. And she was basically telling me that like this company would get the contract and they would contract to a and it would be like 10 contractors deep. Yeah. And then it would just be a bunch of like rogue boiler room sales guys just offering up iPads to everybody at Centrelink. Yeah. To like go, hey, if you do this course, you'll never have to pay it back. Have an iPad.
Centrelink, and this was the ultimate flaw in the idea. The scheme and the idea on paper, minus a couple of major flaws, was good. Yeah,
just didn't take into account people's greed.
Exactly, and a couple of other things. Yeah. So I was working in the RTO space in a sales team, and it was building construction. So Cert 4 diploma of B and C. Yeah. This new thing came along called vet fee help. Essentially, the government would loan you the money like a HEX, interest free, which was great. And so a lot of companies, the company that I was working for, would optimize their RTO and their operations for you're laughing at me here, for future growth. And so they put a lot of money into it. A lot of other, whether you call it smarter or dodgier companies decided this is a great opportunity. Let's just go straight let it rip, boys, and just hire as many salespeople as possible and incentivize the hell out of them. So $20,000-$30,000 courses. But the major flaw was the consumer or the student didn't have to pay back the government fees until they hit $52,000 of income. From that industry, right? From that industry. Like, and so what you could do and what
Could you imagine?
And you're getting like, $2,500-$3,000 commission per sale. Yeah. And so these guys are going out doing 10 a day and they're just knocking down doors of retirement villages. They go, hey, do a certificate in leadership and management to 85-year-old grandmother. And she'd go, why the hell would I want to do that? And she goes, you're probably right. We'll give you a free iPad. I don't know how to use an iPad. We'll give it to your kid for Christmas. Okay. So she'd sign, and as soon as they'd sign, the government would release the funds to the training organisation. They'd never do the course, never course complete. Took them maybe 6 months or 4 or 6 months to cotton on to what was happening, and hundreds of millions of dollars later, they just decided, we're just going to pull the funding, and all RTOs basically went from, doing very well to nothing.
Yeah, my sister was was like the CEO, and then she quit and then became like the head auditor for a rather large. I think it was called Ashley. I can say the name. I don't give a fuck. I'm sure they're not listening. It was Ashley, and there was a certain component of that business which I think was doing some of that, and she ended up going like whoa, and then like kind of dipping out and going like I can't be a part of this. And it might have been I can't remember, but it was very interesting to hear kind of the stories, and when I was like, oh man, what a rogue operation.
And so the company I was working for, we went from 140 staff nationally down to 20, and I was in the Canberra head office, which is where I grew up. Everyone's getting made redundant around me. I wanted a redundancy to move to Sydney, and everyone's getting the tap on the shoulder. And then it got down to 2 or 3 people within this huge office space that we were working in Canberra. And the director or the owner of the company tapped me on the shoulder, come into the boardroom. I'm thinking, yes, perfect. And he sits me down and he says, we actually think you're the right person to turn this around. We can just sell cybersecurity. We can just sell, asbestos awareness training. And I said, no, mate, I'm out of this. Like, this cowboy show, I'm done. Yeah. So unfortunately, I left that company, and that was the first time I actually tried to start a business. I started a digital marketing agency for the few remaining RTOs that were left.
Okay.
I figured, you know what, there's huge companies, and there were some still that stayed afloat, but they never used digital marketing to sell courses because it was easy to sell a free course.
Yeah. Now
there was no free courses, so did that for 2 years, basically did everything wrong, but we got a couple of decent clients, but it fizzled out massively.
Yeah, okay.
And I kind of learned what not to do in business. I didn't have any sales training, because didn't need it in the RTO space at all.
Just go to my iPads, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just no. And so that was kind of my entry into trying to run and start a business.
Yeah, I think it's actually similar to the way that they're running shit these days. I mean, like if you have a look at like the coaching and consulting industry, like I mean, there's everybody gets approved funding, right? Which we don't use in any offer. I sort of refuse to. There's subprime lending. Like, so to me, it's like, it's not dissimilar to where they're going like, hey, learn this skill. And you see all these people on fucking Instagram going like, learn how to make 10K a month from your living room or whatever it is they're spruiking. It's like they're giving them no real tangible skills. They're doing an everybody gets approved subprime lending model. Like at some point, I mean, like something's got to go.
Something's got to get.
Like Kevin David just got done by the FTC.
Yeah.
They $53 million he had to pay back. He was like, I don't have $53 million. So they were like, okay, you got to pay back what you do have, which is $2 million. And they said, if we ever find any hidden money, you got to pay back the whole lot. So like, and there's another person, which I am not allowed to talk about, but I had some fairly serious government organizations call me about. Right, in the U.S., and they're going down. Like, so people in that space are going to be going to jail soon.
Shit.
Right, in the same way that some of these guys at vet funding and some of those dudes went to jail. Like, I mean, some of the shit they were doing was fucking raucous.
I don't know whether they did in Australia.
Yeah?
I think they got away with it because technically they weren't doing anything illegal. They just found a loophole in a system that was flawed. So,
they brought it back out, didn't they? Didn't they revamp it and then bring it back out?
Yeah, I think just recently, a couple of years ago. Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street guy.
Jordan Belfort.
I think a Queensland company hired him when it was all kicking off 2016 or 2015, and he might have done quite well out of it too.
Yeah, I know a few guys who paid him. I know a few guys who paid him over $500,000 just to come out, just to come out and say hello. Basically,
I'm not too aware of what's going on in the business and consulting space in Australia, but then from that RTO space, and then running a failed business, I actually dipped the toe in some consulting and coaching space, I guess trying to educate myself as a business owner here in Australia. Ended up then working for a business and consulting, business coaching company basically here in Australia.
Yep.
And that was the first introduction to actually...
Oh, yeah, another one.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is actually a skill. Do you know what I mean? Running a business, marketing, sales, and there is a process to it. So that was kind of, I guess, cutting my teeth there in an apprenticeship for a couple of years.
Yeah, sweet. How did you come to meet us?
Ironically, I think it was potentially the podcast.
Yeah, right.
or YouTube. I remember watching, this is 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
I had...
They say never meet your heroes. Here you are, what's it like?
I'm a product of what I'm trying to replicate now.
Yeah.
And so, so I'd finished up at the company I was working with and thought I knew a fair bit about how to run a business or a sales process, and then just started following as much as, getting as much information as I could around sales, came across you and came across Sales Sniper, implemented some of the stuff within my sales process. I started the business. It was just myself, got a couple of other people involved.
This is Cyber Revolution.
Cyber Revolution, yep. So then started the business, created a sales process and tweaked it with some of the stuff that you would recommend.
Yep.
And then COVID hit. I guess the original idea was to have a traditional business where you would hire, you'd build a process, get it to a point where you'd hire another sales guy who would hire another sales guy, and you'd build your own sales team, just the way that I thought it was done. Then COVID hit, and you obviously couldn't, hire people or have an office, and that traditional style, for me anyway, went out the window. And so just kept listening to the podcast, realised that you did a done for you process. And I actually reached out and I spoke to James, and he goes, it's probably a little bit too early. You need to get it to a little bit more, within revenue, and then have a chat to us. And I thought it was ready. I thought it was perfect for what you guys, the skill set that you had.
Where are you at then?
I think we were at about maybe 20 or 30 a month revenue.
Yeah.
And so a month passed. I'm like, nah, this will work. I'll reach back out to Matt directly. Like he'll probably say yes. Because, James, I thought was a little bit more conservative, and it was great, and he was probably right. It might have been a bit early, and in looking back, it might have been, because it did take, it took a few months for us to get it to where it was working really, really well, but spoke with you, and you're like, yep, looks like it could work, and the rest is history.
Yeah. We lost money on it for a few months too.
I knew you'd sell me. I knew you'd be like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah, we lost money on it because we were speaking to Anthony, we saw the potential, but we kind of over infrastructured it, to the point where, because we were paying all the setters and all that kind of stuff, and we were like, well, all right, we'll figure it out.
I remember I had a chat. I was on holiday, or it might have been.
We were losing like maybe $6,000 to $8,000 a month.
Yeah, it might have been right before Christmas, 2021. I was on holiday, and Marco and Anthony had a meeting, and it wasn't. Yeah, it was. I knew it had massive potential. And it was a great fit, but it just wasn't really getting all that much traction. And Marco said, "Look, we're losing money. We're going to give ourselves another 6 weeks to turn this around.
Yeah,
this is what we need from you." And so rolled up the sleeves and got it done.
Yeah, and now it's doing
quite well.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well.
I think
it's doing like 15 times what it was when we started.
17, yeah, it's
17,
like 1,700% growth.
That's not bad.
In 14 months.
That'd be like, you would definitely be fastest growing company in Australia.
No idea.
I mean, we got on the list. And it's nothing like that.
I don't even know. I didn't even know there was a list.
Yeah, AFR. You should definitely put in for it, because it makes the CEOs look good.
Yeah, okay.
It helps the company, gets more press.
Yeah.
You'll probably get audited though if you do it. So. It's
not accredited training space. I don't mind if someone can, audit me.
It's just like, that's, if I was an auditor, that's the list I go for. You know what I mean? Fastest sure. You guys are fucking something up.
1,700%. Yeah, no.
Yeah. No, but legit, especially if that continues. I mean, not that it'll continue at that pace, but that goes up. That'll be miles ahead of any other company. I think we had we were in the top. I think we were 21st in the country.
Yeah,
and we had 450%.
Yeah, wow.
And the number one was maybe 600 or 700%.
Well, there you go. I mean, what it would do for the business is, a big part of us, we go up against the universities. I've got a bit of a chip on my shoulder about traditional education and the unis, and the whole point, of starting Cyber Revolution was to not just focus on the skills and the certificate, get them a job at the end of it, a genuine focus on getting them a job, which is what we do really well. But one issue that we always do struggle with a little bit is credibility.
Okay.
And so I guess that would help.
Yeah. I mean, I think the education system is a fucking rot. I don't see any point in going to uni unless you want to be a doctor, a lawyer.
Yep.
What else?
Yeah.
What else do you actually need university experience for? like an MBA, I could not think of a more garbage thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure it's great, but I'm sure like you learn vernacular, you know, and people with MBAs, you can probably have really interesting conversations about a business you'll never run.
Yep.
But I just like, same as like a marketing degree. What a waste of time.
Yeah.
Everything you've learned is totally and completely irrelevant by the time you graduate.
Yep.
And like the things that you learn in like an MBA are not like, it's the sort of same as like high school. Like high school doesn't teach you how to have a life. Like you don't learn how to do your taxes. You don't learn
exactly,
you know, like how to go to the grocery store.
Yep.
And do all the kind of things that you learn. But like, I understand like the point for me of education, at least like with my kids, right, is as long as they learn a work ethic and they learn how to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I give a shit about. Mm-hmm. If they walk out with great grades, fantastic. If they walk out with mediocre grades, I don't care.
Yep.
I'll tell them to put effort in things they enjoy and that they're going to do moving forward. And if they come to me saying they want to go to university, I'll be like, sweet, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
If they say I don't want to go, I'll be like, sweet, do what you want.
Yeah.
Like I don't, because I didn't go to I went to university for a year and I dropped out because I hated it and I joined the army. I make way more than anyone I know with a university degree.
Yeah. I went to uni, and I think university was good for me because I wanted to go to uni. And I wanted to become a teacher, so you have to do an education degree. But
do you feel like you have to
become a teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No, I mean, do you feel like if you could? Do you feel like you could just design on the job training?
Oh, the only useful part of my 4-year degree was the
on the job,
the prac.
Yeah.
The 8-week prac unpaid that you have to do.
Yeah, right.
That's where you learn all of the skills, and that's where you implement everything. And we see it the same in cybersecurity. When we have someone come to us and they've done a master's in cybersecurity, 4 years, 50 grand, 60 grand, they'll come to us and be like, okay, great. What roles do you want to look at applying for? Or what roles have you applied for? Because they've usually tried to get into the industry first, and they're like, oh, just anything. I don't know. And like, you've got no idea what specific role you're eligible for and what you want to apply for after you've spent all that money and all that time. Like, no, not really.
So what tangible skill would they come out with from an education degree that they could actually apply going to Westpac and going like, I can provide this for you?
Look, so it's just for cybersecurity, the basic skills, right? In regards to hardware, software, networking, the coding and programming side of things, because university goes deeper into that. Although, again, that's redundant because you don't actually do that in an entry-level cybersecurity role.
Yeah.
And then some analytics as well.
Yeah.
Basically. So it is useful, but that's only half of it. Like, getting the piece of paper is only 50% of the way getting towards a job. Yeah. And the way the cybersecurity industry is working at the moment, it is strength in numbers, and we need more people desperately. So if you're thinking about it and you go and do a 3-year degree or 4-year degree, you're not actually applying for roles for, to get into the industry, then you'll probably miss that wave. And so that, for me, if I talk about my experience at university, I went there for 4 years, enjoyed myself. It was the right time for me. I wanted to go to uni, so that was great. But I was a physical education teacher, was told, yep, great industry, you'll get a job. Finished my 4 years and was then told that there's, zero PE teaching roles in Australia, basically. You think about a PE teacher, they sit there for 15, there's only a certain amount of schools.
They just retire.
But they get comfy and they just sit there for 10, 15 years. Someone gets pregnant, there's an opening, and there's thousands of people in front of you. So when I finished uni, the first 15 to 18 months, I was working, glorified babysitter, doing history, maths, French, and just hopping from school to school. Yeah, and right. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm never going to get a job. I don't want to be a maths teacher.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's where the whole, like, all right, this industry, or this education industry.
There's an overabundance of teachers. There's just
massively.
So all these people.
There's an overabundance of a lot of things that you get a university degree for.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I've just never really understood. Like, I think educating yourself is really important, but I just think like it should just be the pointy bit. I just like underlying foundations I think are important for a lot of stuff. But like, for example, like when I was in special ops, I became like a very particular type of medic. It's called a PAFA, right? So it's like an SASR Patrol Advanced First Aider. and you learn like most of the life-saving surgeries, right?
Mm.
So like I could do them, I practiced them, I did them in real time, and a doctor, I would have done more than the 99% of surgeons will ever do.
How long did that take you to train up?
Fucking 8-week course, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or maybe it was 12 weeks. I can't remember. But and then like at the end of it, like we went to University of WA, and they'd have a bunch of sheeps. Fucking stab the sheep. They go fix it, right? And you're like fuck. So you're kind of doing the thing in real time. Went over to seas, working with like CAG and ODA. Went out, started shooting pigs, fixing up the pigs. You know what I mean? Then we go out and do it for real life. And like we were good at it. Like we could do it. Do we understand any of the underlying anatomy? Not really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we could do it, and
Yeah.
we could do it effectively, and I could do it better than most of those fucking doctors could do because they never got a chance to do it for real ever.
Yep.
You know, surgical airways, the whole box and dice. And so it's just like, man, like for a lot of this shit, like you just need the pointy bit. And then from there, like you'll go in and you'll learn the rest. Now, I'm not saying a surgeon should be an 8-week course, obviously, but I'm just using that as kind of like an example of like even something as complex as that.
Yep.
We learned that shit in 12 weeks
Yep.
and we were fucking good at it. We were good enough to save people's lives, like, which is the whole goal of it. It's a life-saving surgery,
Yeah.
right? So like we fucked them up a bit. Like fully, like those people who got surgical airways never going to talk the same way ever again.
Yep.
It wasn't quite as nuanced as right, but they're alive.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's just that's why that is one of the good things about the whole coaching consulting industry is they kind of do shortcut some of that. I just think that most of the people teaching it are full of shit.
Yep.
You know, like I see all these companies and they have fucking all these C-suite positions and they got a bunch of chickens with their head running around. Going like, that, pretending to run a business.
Well, it's just, you've just got to have the experience doing it. You learn so much more we're all about just getting someone the opportunity. Once you're in that role, you'll learn so much more in the first 6 to 12 months. I even say it to our students. I go, all we want to do is get you into the industry. And I don't want to downplay the skills that we give our students, but you'll learn 10 times as much in the first 3 months working for these companies than you would with us in the 6 months you've trained with us.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're the CEO.
Yep.
Right? Where do you see? Let me ask you a question. Do you see yourself running this company? Let's say it gets to $100 million a year. Do you think you'll be the guy running it?
I haven't really thought of it. I think so. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I can't see myself wanting to step away from the Australian entity. I really enjoy the educational side. As I said, it's a passion of mine. Cybersecurity is not my passion. You know what I mean? But education and education that provides outcomes is. And so at the moment, I think I can't see myself leaving.
You're going to branch out from cyber?
Potentially. There's so many other options, right? Like this whole AI thing that's coming out, Chat GPT or whatever
That
it is.
one? Yeah.
OpenAI, that little business.
Wait till someone teach you how to hack.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's options there to, branch out into AI. But at the moment, we're just strapping on and, enjoying the ride with cyber.
Yeah, I have a different view about like my role, like as CEO. I reckon as soon as it earns $100 million, I don't reckon I'm the guy. I think it'll be too big for me.
Yeah.
I think like I'll have to. I think I think I can comfortably get it to 100. Right. Like we have that within reach. We have the plan. It's not like a bullshit coaching consulting. It's like no. We have a series of subsidiaries, and no business has to get so enormous that it becomes unmanageable.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I have the capabilities at the moment to run a business that big.
No,
I think that there would just be like, what I would do is I would like go and steal someone from like GoDaddy.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I use GoDaddy because he's like that guy who was the CEO of that, was like a rock star. They got bought by BlackRock, I'm pretty sure. And then they use that guy to every single new acquisition they do. So I reckon what I'll do is I'll get it to like $100 million and then I'll go and find someone to replace me as CEO and then I'll sit on the board because I think like what I'm good at is probably getting a business to like $10 to $20 million a year and then fucking bouncing out. So I think what I'll do is like create myself a little team of people who want to grow businesses and then we'll go and buy them, grow them, and then pass it off to the headquarters.
Yep.
Buy them, grow them, pass them off to headquarters, and I'll just sit on the board.
Yeah.
Because like being the CEO of especially like, it was funny, like, our client, Ryan Serhnant, the real estate guy.
Yep.
I was talking to him in New York, maybe like in November. I was at his office and I was like, you ever going to go public? He's like, it's a good question. And he said, I don't think so. He goes, I might change my mind. But he said, like, he's never met a happy CEO of a public company.
Yes.
the scrutiny involved would be horrendous.
Yeah.
And I don't see that being a fun job.
That's a good point, right? Like I said, I enjoy what I do at the moment with the business.
If
we were, and it's impossible for it to be the case, but if we're operating the same way at that revenue, then of course,
sweet.
Do you know what I mean? But you're right. Like if it
goes complexity,
if you go public and you've got to write get all of that scrutiny, write all of those reports. Again, that's not my skill set and what I want to be doing. So that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, I remember having a chat with like all of our hierarchy, and like career development chats, and they were like, "So I want to be this and C-level this," and I was like, "Do you want like the conversation where I try and convince you to stay here forever, or do you want like the real answer?" Like the real answer, I was like, "If you want to be a C-level executive here, you'll probably have to leave." And they were like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Let's say like I had a chat with our VP of finance today. She's phenomenal, like one of our best friends, great at what she does." She was like, "What's the role to CFO?" And I was like, "The role to CFO is probably leave. Like VP of finance, then what you would do is you would try and put together enough of a CV here and learn enough over the next few years to then go and be the controller of a much larger company.
Yeah.
Then from there, you learn how they operate. You learn a whole bunch of shit. Like you go to $1 billion company and be one of their controllers of one of their departments. Then you come back here as like CFO. And that would that's a really like good. That's where like everyone hops, right? And I think this like insular internal promotion thing. You ever heard a thing called I think it's called the Peter Principle?
No.
So Peter Principle, I think it's called that. It could be called something else, but it's a thing in business where you internally promote to a state of incompetence, right? So let's just say let's say you're a rock star sales guy, and you're like, "Fuck, you're killing it, bro. Let's make you sales manager." First of all, terrible idea, but anyway. Then they're like, "Man, you're a really good sales manager. Let's make you VP of sales. You're a pretty good VP of sales, right? Then we make you like chief of sales, and you're like an average chief of sales. And then we go, you're going to be the chief revenue officer, and you're a fucking horrific chief revenue officer, right?
Yeah.
Because like it's just the war of attrition.
Exactly. And they've got no experience. They have no idea.
Yeah.
About
and if you only internally promote, then everyone has the same decision-making process, and it's just the business never changes.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to bring people in. People have to leave. And they can come back. Like, I was telling Tori, I was like, I don't want this to happen, but I was like, if I look at you as a friend and I go, you probably cap out right now at this level, but if you left for 2 years on, like, a sabbatical, and we're very good friends, we stay in touch, and we know it's for a purpose, and you have like, for 2 years, I'm going to go do this. And you come back, like, that's a really good way to like, for the company to then like experience and get a whole new skill set and a whole new way of doing things.
It's tough. I find it tough to know when to make those big hires. I've never, this is the second business I've run and the first business that is at this stage. And we've got a team that's growing now. It's like, okay, we've just hired a business manager, but at what role do you look at really building out that org chart where you've got a head of all 6 departments?
Well, I think people do it wrong, and I know I did it wrong. I built it like a reverse pyramid, where I had like a really heavy hierarchy in C-suite, and then it got thinner as you went down, which is not the way a business should run. But it's how most people build their business. They'll get the big hitters in, and they'll try. What you should do, I think, is just hire shitloads of doers. So what I've recently done is I've done like pay banding. So it's like these designators. So we have coordinator, manager, VP, and C-suite. Now I could add in director in there as well, which would be below VP. That's a very traditional hierarchy: C-suite, VP, director, manager, coordinator. So, but I was like, we don't have that many people. So I was like, I'm gonna make it into a pyramid. So there's only 3 C staff in the whole thing. Right? Right? And then from there, it's like I have a shitload of doers. So like right now we're only hiring doers. That's it, coordinator roles. And coordinator roles have a specific pay band. Managers have a specific pay band, and it's like a pay band, let's say it's from 8 to 10,000 or whatever a month. And it's like less than 3 years experience is 8. 3 to 5 is 9. 5 plus is 10. So there's no fucking wiggle room. Like it's like, that's your pay band. Like, and then when you cross over that threshold, your pay goes up. Right? Now there's bonus structures and stuff like that. But then from there, So what I'm doing at the moment is like we're having a look at each department and we're making sure that like we have more doers than we do managers.
Yeah.
So it should be like 5, 2, 1.
Yep.
That's a good department. Finance, VP of finance, like 2 managers, 5 doers.
Mm-hmm.
We're fucking Gucci.
Yeah.
We just do that in each department, make it into a pyramid, and then the whole thing's a pyramid.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And what is the goal? 100 mil?
No, like I think we can do that in 2025. What year is it? Yes, 2025.
2 years.
I think we can do that. So, like, as a group, I'll use US dollars because I work in US dollars. We did like 30 million.
Yep.
In 2022, I think we'll do 40. I think we'll do 38, roughly.
Yep.
38 to 40 in 2023. I want to do 65 in 2024. And there's a reason for that jump. And it's the way that we're running the business this year is like super lean to store cash. So I can go like that, right?
Yep.
Because in order to grow, you need money. But I'm really against fundraising.
Yep.
Like, because it just seems
especially if you're making money.
Yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
It feels like. It just feels like a gross way of everyone. And then you got people on your board and it's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I want to avoid like, not that I want to avoid oversight.
Yeah.
But I just like, it's my business.
It's your business.
I'll do what I want.
That's exactly
Like,
where I'm at.
Let me do what I want.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. If I
Let me
want to
operate.
pay myself out 90% of the profit, I'll do it.
Yep.
I can do what the fuck I want.
Yep.
I gave myself a massive payout last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fucking shoom, boom,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So we're just like hoarding cash this year.
Yep.
So that we can have a massive 2020 big drop in 2024.
Yep.
And that should set us up for 2025.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But like
Sense.
we're gonna go into branding and all kinds of stuff. So like we're gonna have to like hire external creative directors, you know what I mean? Which is gonna be like they're gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
They're gonna have like a $2-3 million runway to get the brand sorted to where it can like move in. And then I just want to fucking bounce out and just go and open up random businesses. Like I'd love to open up some tanning salons.
Tanning salon.
Phenomenal business. Bro.
Really?
Yeah, I've done the numbers. I've got the business plan. It's hell of a business if you do it right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Barbershops are another really good one.
Yep.
If we can do brick and mortar. I wouldn't mind figuring out a way to do gyms profitably.
Because that's your background, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd love to like now do it with my acumen and money
Mm-hmm.
and be like, how do you like, and just fucking sink everyone. I reckon I could do it.
Because that's what you've got, especially in that business type, that business model in the bar. You've got to go to market and just
I want to have like 80 businesses.
do as much as possible.
And
Yeah.
then have it as a big fucking group.
Yeah.
And then just sell that bitch for like $5 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sort of the goal.
So in the sales space in the US, you guys are taking over Cardone.
I would say like not on like a gross revenue standpoint because Cardone Capital. I would say in a sales training, I'd say we'd probably do more.
Yeah.
In like pure sales training.
Yep.
Not on all this other stuff. I think all up they do 75 million a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Like that. But like, you know, their sales training, I think their sales training is like a loss leader, if I'm perfectly honest. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like their sales training, like their guys are on all of our challenges. You can see them all.
Are they?
Yeah, they're everywhere.
yeah.
They're on our lives,
Yeah.
challenges, because like they're obviously keeping tabs. Because like I would think we're the biggest B2C sales trainer out there. I don't know of anyone bigger. Like Zoom hit us up.
Really?
I was like, hey, can you come train our team?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, I guess.
So that's now you more so in the B2B space as
We're
opposed to
definitely
B2C.
not,
Yeah.
but we would like to be. Like we get hit up like randomly by big companies.
Yeah.
But we don't have like a really solid go-to-market strategy.
Yep.
It's also like it's just a difficult space to navigate. So like I think what we'll do is we'll probably cap our B2C coaching at pretty much what it is now. Like we closed Inner Circle for the next 2 months. It's just full. Like I can't fulfill all those people.
Yeah.
It's
a good issue.
So we sent out an email. It was like no more, and people were like, "Rah!"
I'll pay extra.
Yeah, and our sales guys were like, "Is this real or are we like pretending?" I was
Yeah.
like, "No, dude. Like it's real. Anyone you sell will refund."
I never thought I would do this, but in November last year when we went on a run,
This month's been a bit wild.
yeah, but like we'll have a record month this month, but it really, thankfully, we got some free marketing from Optus.
Yeah.
Medibank.
Yeah.
I owe some Russians some money.
Yeah.
But then late last year, like the business, the way that Cyber Evolution runs is we can help a lot of people each month. It's a very scalable model. And Anthony always joked like, "Oh, we're going to break the business,"
Yeah.
and he came close.
Yeah.
He came quite close. Some like long days in November, but we're all good now. We've enabled it, and we've got a lot more support staff in.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Like, it's cyclical. You want to be able to, make a lot of money, drive growth to be able to reinvest into the business. And I think we're at that stage now to be able to go, okay, let's enable ourselves for the next stage of growth that's coming.
Yeah. What like sort of financial methodology do you use, if any?
In what regard?
Like I use profit first.
Yeah.
Right? You know that model?
That's a book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially like what we do is like I lay out. So when I do my budgeting, I lay out like what my gross revenue, gross profit, and then net profit will be.
Yep.
And then like sort of net operating profit and then net profit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and then I have like percentages. And so I'm like, all right, cool. I know how much. So let's say from $1 million that comes in, like we use profit first. So profit first means that you put away your profit first.
Yep.
So before you do tax, before you do OPEX, everything, so you're focused on profit.
Like net profit after corporate taxes. Everything.
Yeah, because I have a tax account.
Yep.
So I have a revenue account.
Yep.
I have a revenue account, a profit account, an operating expense account, a tax account, and then I also have a bonus account.
Yep.
So the way that my bonuses work is they're yearly bonuses, because anything other than a yearly bonus is stupid, because like you could have if you do quarterly bonuses, for example, what if you have a phenomenal Q1, Q2, and a horrendous Q3, Q4? You've spent all the money. You've given it out.
Yep.
So we do yearly bonuses. So I accrue that in my books every month, and then we put that aside. But it's not a real expense, right? It's an accrued expense on potentiality of us hitting it. If it doesn't get hit, it'll just go back into profit, right? So from there, like we work out, like let's say you put away 18% of your gross revenue for tax. You could probably get away with like 12, realistically. You know what I mean? Or even 10 of just gross revenue. So from $1 million, I think we put away 15%.
Yep.
So I put, because I tend to oversave tax. So
That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, so I'll do like, okay, I want to hit a 22% margin, let's say, or a 30% net margin. So I'll put that exact figure into profit account every single month.
Yep.
Like that's a non-negotiable, that goes in there. Then from there we do operating expense, and then we do tax, and then we do bonus.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So like they're all just, it's a set distribution of exactly what's there, and it just goes in every single month. And then like I get the report from the guys like, yes, we had to move from tax to OPEX or whatever like that, but we're going to bring it back in because of just how the months work out or whatever that. Yep. The one thing they can't do is they can't touch profit.
Yep. Okay.
Like that's a non-negotiable. That is like the legit profit of the business. Yeah. And so like I will decide if that has to get reinvested or distributed or whatever like that.
Yep.
But it's a really good model. And then it sort of tells you how healthy your business is, because like it says, like, let's say you're doing 20 million. It's like you shouldn't have more than 60% OPEX or 50% OPEX. Right. So it's like, and that's based on, the hundreds of thousands of businesses which they surveyed at all different models and all different industries. It's like, hey, if you're doing this revenue and you have a higher OPEX than this, you have a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and that was good for sort of me to figure out. And like when I had bad accountants, I have good accountants now. When I had bad accountants, that profit first saved me.
And is this all self-driven or self-taught? Did you go through?
I read the book.
Just read the book and that's it?
Yeah. One of the business coaching
this at the moment. This is the kind of stage of the business we're at, and my growth as a CEO and understanding not just marketing, sales, and how to deliver a good service.
Yeah.
I'm doing some of the other, going through those other pillars of a business at the moment.
So like a really good accountant is key. I had a terrible accountant. Terrible. The books were set up poorly. The things that I would have is like I would have a really good bookkeeper. And then they'd want to be separate to your accountant.
Yep.
I think a lot of people, they get their accountant and their bookkeeper from the same place. This is a bad idea.
Yeah, okay.
Right? That's how they get embezzled from one-on-one. That's how, like, I've seen that happen many times. Also, like, you want to have like I have a bookkeeper.
Val?
I have Val's.
I speak to Val a lot.
Yeah, Val's one of them. Yeah. So she's my internal.
Yep.
She's an employee.
Yep.
Then I have an external BAS agent, and then I have an external accountant. So all of them hold each other accountable. Right? So like there's no fuckery happening unless they were to conspire against me. Val's my auntie.
Yeah.
So I seriously doubt it.
Yeah.
Right? So like that's really important, because like I used to have a bookkeeper and she was terrible, and like just got snowed under. Just fuck, man, like the amount of damage she did in the books was like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see.
Yeah.
Then from there I got an accountant who cleaned up a lot of that, but then like again we outgrew them, right? And so they just started like shortcutting things because we were just throwing so much. We were growing so quickly they just couldn't keep up, and they ended up fucking up a lot of stuff, right? Like misallocating $700,000 worth of anyway, it doesn't matter. But then we got really good accountants, and that cost a lot because what we had to do is go back to like day one, redo all the books, completely redo the chart of accounts, right? So like in Xero or accounting software, it's like what is income, what is expense, what is cost of goods sold, what is operating, redo all that, right? To where like it was really good. And then from there, resubmit all of our taxes, make sure we're up to date on everything, and then start to get management reports from our accountant. So like now our accountant provides us at the end of every month. Our books are closed off by like the 10th. Or we aim to. I think we're aiming to get down to like the 5th or 6th, but probably won't happen because there's so much back and forth with clients, right? Yeah. So we try and get them closed up by like the 10th. That way I can look at it on the 10th to the 11th, and I can go, this is what we did, right? And I get a management report from the accountant, and it's like, what is our quick ratio, which is like cash to liability, right? What is our P&L and a cash, P&L and accruals? Where's our balance sheet at? All that kind of stuff. One of the best courses I did was the Harvard Online Business School, like finance and accounting course. That was really helpful. To be able to like, because you want to be able to like understand and speak to an accountant and have an idea. Like debits on the left, credits on the right. Like you have an understanding of how their thought process works, because you never take business advice from an accountant. You only take tax advice. Right? Like our accountant was like, hey, you need to pay out cash, right? Because you have a cash surplus, pay it out. I was like, nope. And they were like, you do this. And I was like, absolutely not. And they were like, oh, why? But this, and I was like, because I know what's coming here, and here. And that's, I need cash for that. Whereas like from a tax standpoint, at the end of financial year, it would have been good to do a cash burn. And I mistakenly allowed some of a cash burn, but then that put us in a shitty position later on in the year where I was like, fuck, I should have gone my gut and done zero cash burn, and I would have left it in. And,
you didn't know. As you said, it's like...
I did know. I just listened to people. Like, don't take business advice from financial people. Take financial advice.
But now you've made that mistake. It's like you said, the analogy of cutting open the pigs at the start when you were talking about that.
Yeah, you got to get into it.
You got to get into it and do it.
Yeah, and you got to realize like business as well will go through like money peaks and money troughs. And like there will be a time in every business of where it's losing money. Like there was a time at Sniper we were losing about $97,000 a month.
Really?
Right? It wasn't that long ago. So we were losing
because you were over leveraged staff. And
Like our OPEX got up to 700. Yeah, bro. Yeah, it got fucking real there for a bit. So like I sort of came in, sort of redid a bunch of stuff and got it under control. But like it was like that $97,000 a month to lose for it's like it's not that much money when you actually think about it, right? Like, so it's like, had I known now, like over the last 12 months, I've come a long way in terms of a business owner. So like, I wouldn't have reacted in the way that I reacted now. Like, and now I realize like, oh, all businesses go through cash cycles. You know? And so it's like, and so for 7th level, like I'm prepared for when that happens, because there will be a time, it'd be tough at 7th level because that business is so fucking lean, but like something, you know, our ad accounts could all get shut down for 2 months, right? And then all of a sudden, we've still got this nut we have to pay. Like we have recurring, but the recurring would cover our stuff. That's about it. Right?
We're the same, I think.
So like it wouldn't cover my salary. It would cover everybody else's salaries. You know what I mean? So I'd be like, okay, cool. So there's going to I have to have enough of a kitty there to where we don't have so much of a kitty that you leave all the money in the business. Which is the other mistake that I made, which is like for years, I just reinvested instead of taking money out. And you make way better decisions with a ton of money in your bank account. Now that I've got over 7 figures in cash, like my decision making is so much better because I'm like, well, fuck it. These businesses can make zero money for 2 years and I'm fine.
You can figure it out.
Like I'll be fine. My kids will go to school. They won't even know what's happening. Like my wife just won't be allowed to buy handbags. Like that's literally about it. If I didn't make any money for a couple of years, I'd be like, whatever. But that's only come from like having like, okay, now I start take money. And so, it's just an interesting journey that you kind of have to go through.
Yeah, it is. I've had that stress and that anxiety for the first, 12 to 18 months because I quit my job in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And it was going okay. And then even when we brought you guys on as well, it was going okay. And you're still, you are stressed. You get some sleepless nights if
You always think it's going to collapse. Don't
always.
you? I still think it's going to collapse.
Yeah, same.
It's probably not though.
Like their Facebook could crash or this could happen, and you just come up with all of these scenarios. But I think as you get some calluses and you get numb to it all.
Yeah.
And also you get some runs on the board and some experience, then you just that's part of being a business owner.
Yeah. What was it like handing over your sales and marketing? Because we do your sales and your marketing.
Yes.
So because I've never had to do that.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this actually on the way in. I'm like, okay, because I knew we were going to talk about how we work with you guys and who it would be good, who it would be good for and who it won't be. I think a lot of businesses it would be a great addition for, but only certain business owners.
Yeah, big time. You have to let us do our thing.
Yeah. And so I've always been good at, I come from a sales background. I was very, very confident in the sales ability of yourself and the team and Anthony. Anthony's fucking amazing.
He's a phenom.
So I had the confidence there. And to just go, you know what, these guys know what they're doing. It's my decision to bring them on, and I am just going to let them do their thing, and they're going to allow me to, do other things within the business. I think there would be some business owners that they're the bottleneck, they're the handbrake that just wouldn't allow some people to make major business decisions. They've got to be involved in everything. But for me, I'm comfortable doing it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, I think there are relationships that work best with us as people who are like, yeah, man, you guys do your thing.
Yeah.
Because when some of the businesses we work with, it's like fuck, because sales is so quick. Sales and marketing is so dynamic.
Yeah.
It's so you got to be able to go I see this, I make this. I see this, I make this.
Yeah.
So every day we look at all the numbers and we go, okay, to make it better, we turn this lever and that lever.
Yep.
And if we can't turn the levers,
yeah,
then it's well, that's not the problem in 4 days' time.
Yeah.
So we need to micro tweak every day, and we don't always have the time to tell everyone all the tweaks that are being made. So it's at one point in your account, we triple booked every call.
I know. Yeah, well, I found that out.
Yeah.
Obviously. I didn't know that at the time, right?
Right. And then we figured out how to double book them, and then we figured out we stagger booked them.
Yep.
And then we single booked them because it took us a while to figure out how to get the people to show up.
So my biggest focus was not how you made the sales in regards to the numbers. All it was the results focused, but how the students were being sold, what their expectations coming into the program. Yep. So I listened to a lot of sales calls, with Anthony, reviewed some, and I was very, very comfortable with how the offer was being sold.
Yeah.
That for me was the main thing. The tactics of how you get to X amount of sales per month, whether you triple book, double book, triage, straight to sales call, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As long as the student comes in with an expectation and they're sold ethically, that's all I cared about. And so there are some things that Anthony, I say no, I'm like, it's still my business, my decision. I go, he'll let me know. It's not like he's, we've just upped the ad spend $50,000 and not told you.
Yeah. But we'll go, hey man, we're on a heater. I recommend.
Yeah. And I'll go, yep. And there'll be some times we don't agree. I'm like, Anthony, you need to pump the brakes because there is another side to this business other than marketing and sales.
Yeah. How dare you?
And he'll be like, no, I can see his eye twitching a little bit.
Yeah.
So we've got a great dynamic. I can say yes, I can say no. I've got the ultimate say at the end of the day. But I think the business owners that do well in this type of model are the ones that can just go, I've got a good thing here. I'm just going to let them do their thing and deploy.
Some guys dictate whether or not we do a triage or not. And I'm like,
see, that defeats the whole purpose of.
Yeah. And I go, guys, it's not like I'm committing to doing a triage forever. It's just right now. Ideally, everyone goes straight to sales call. Ideally, we don't have to fucking talk to them. And we figure out how to sell this over webinar, right? Legit.
Yeah.
If I can figure that out, I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Right? As long as I get my comms, I don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
I'll do the webinar, right?
Yeah.
So it's just right now with the circumstances, I feel like it's the best move. And I go, listen, this is your rock show. I'll play whatever chords you want. But that is highly not my recommendation.
Yeah.
They're like, no, do it. I was like, all right. I was like, sweet, man. But just not, I don't think it's going to work. I hope it does, but I don't think. It's like, sweet, we'll go ahead and get onto it.
Yeah.
You know?
And that would just that'll then have a ripple effect in the way that you guys always operate, and it's just not going to work.
It is, and I can go, as soon as stuff like that happens, I go, we're going to quit in 3 months for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they're going to crack the shit to this because it's not working. The funniest thing is when they do stuff and we go, that won't work, and they go, do it, and we go, okay, and they go, why isn't it working? I said, well, I told you it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And they go, you're shit, and I go, all right.
See ya.
I'm like, you...
Yeah.
Okay.
I look at it the exact same dynamic. Like, we wrote out an org chart recently, and I've got Anthony in my org chart as the sales manager.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I look at it as like, I'll catch up with him. He gives me the reports. I'll go, yep, do that, don't do that. And I treat him like he's a team member and a sales manager.
Which is why it's a good relationship.
Yeah.
Because it's like I always try and tell people, like, we're not an external agency. Like, we're partners because we can only make money if you guys are making money. Like, that's the only way.
Yeah.
And you guys only make money if we're making money. So it's like, if we just treat this more like a partnership instead of like some sort of, a lot of businesses bring us on reluctantly because we're expensive. So like, they're looking for ways to get rid of us always. Like, that's a lot of the relationship. They're trying to find ways to figure out what we're doing, how we're doing it, so they can bring someone in cheaper to do it. And it just never works out.
No, I want to pay you guys $1 million a month.
Yeah, I would love that.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, well, it means you're making a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. And then and also I'm learning from Anthony. You guys are experts, and I thought I knew a bit about sales. I knew a bit about how to craft a sales process and do sales. Like, up until recently, the monthly sales record I held about 4 or 5 months ago. Still to this day, it's not still to this day, but about 4 months ago, it's since been broken by one of the team members. So I know how to sell the product, but that's always we're never going to grow. You know, if I'm in the sales seat the whole time. So
who broke it?
I think Scott Auerbach did first.
Yeah, savagery.
And then potentially, I think Jake Clapson's about to break it.
He's savage. He came out of nowhere.
He came from the treehouse, and he's
he did the process right. Because he came on. We put him on, and we're like, we don't think you're ready. He's like, no, I think I am. And he shit the bed.
Did he?
We immediately took him off for this. He told you.
Yeah.
And then brought him back on, triage. Hey, man, just like, listen, do some more development. Then we brought him back on and close 5 deals in the first day.
Yeah, he's killing it. Yeah. But what I have learned is how much a sales process or a sales funnel can be optimized.
Yeah.
And a marketing funnel can be optimized. I knew the basics, but as you said before, once we got the sales process done and the conversion rates were good, it was then about how do we speak to more people? You know, do we increase the price of the product? Do we double book,
which we've
triple
done
book,
a fair bit, yeah.
Which we've done, and do we shorten the sales cycle this way? And so what I love is every time we catch up, it's not just it's going well, nothing's changed. It's getting optimized every single week almost. The marketing and the sales.
Yeah. Well, it's the only way to make money. So.
Well, I'm learning all of that stuff as well, which is great.
It's fun. Then you start working in different environments and countries, and you got to start to dial everything. And it's an interesting, like, it's a never-ending learning process, and like we try, and because we do have the advantage of being in the back of like 20 of those businesses, we sort of go, well, that's working over here. If we take a component of that over here, and we kind of adjust it and do that, and let's try that. Yeah. And we just have a lot of data. So, and we have the good thing is as well, we have good sales reps. Like, they're all consistent. So like, if something happens and then everyone's close rates goes down, well, it's not the reps. Yeah. We've done something that's ruined it, so let's pull it all back, and then we can try and rework it again because those guys are consistent.
Yeah. No, they're great.
Awesome. All right, well, that's enough.
We're done.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for paying me all the money you do.
Back at you.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you like this kind of content, make sure you like, subscribe, hit notification bell, all that kind of good stuff, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Put that coffee down.